After taking on Fox News for sexual harassment, Gretchen Carlson is channeling her energy into Miss America. We caught up with her to talk about the future of the competition and what she hopes comes of the MeToo movement. It's been over 2 years since you came forward with your lawsuit against Fox News, and a lot has happened in those past 2 years in regards to other women coming forward. So do you think since then we've seen a lot of positive change?
Well, yes, I call it a cultural revolution. And those things don't happen quickly usually. Social movements and cultural shifts usually take decades. So the idea that we have empowered so many more women to feel like their voice matters and that they can come forward and tell their story is really revolutionary. I could have never predicted any of that when I jumped off the cliff by myself 2 years ago. I had no way of knowing how my own personal story was going to unfold, much less how it would give courage to so many other people to come forward. And for my role in that, I'm thankful and I'm grateful for people acknowledging that.
Well, one of the roles you've taken on since leaving Fox is becoming a member of the Board of Trustees for Miss America. And you recently announced that Swimsuits would no longer be part of the competition, which received a lot of praise, but there was also some pretty harsh criticism. Some people seemed very upset about that. So I'm wondering, why do you think that is? Why are people so mad that Swimsuits are no longer part of it?
We have been working diligently to make Miss America relevant again. You know, we're 97 years old as we move towards 100 years, and quite honestly, we needed to be sustainable and financially viable as an organization. And so the interesting thing that people don't know is that Miss America has always been very provocative and forward in empowering women. For example, when we started in 1921, women wearing a bikini outside on the boardwalk in Atlantic City was shunned. So it was very renegade for the first contestants in the Miss America organization to actually wear swimsuits on the boardwalk. Similarly, about 75 years ago, when a woman running the program at the time incorporated scholarship dollars into Miss America and a talent category, that was also seen as renegade at the time, because women weren't really even going to college in the 1940s. So you fast forward now to 2018, and to keep this organization financially viable and sustainable, our board unanimously decided to not judge on physical appearance anymore. We believed that when you are awarding millions of dollars of scholarship to young women every year, that a prerequisite for that should not be to walk around in high heels and a bikini.
Since your story has come out, I mean, your story was sort of at the very beginning of the MeToo movement, but there's been lots of backlash from men and also women that say it's gone too far. So what do you think about those concerns?
Well, first of all, I think that in general, you know, we live in America and we're open to any and all opinions, but sometimes the minority are very noisy. So I wouldn't characterize it as lots of backlash. I think there have been, you know, a few people who have wondered if it's gone too far, and I say we're just getting started. The idea that we're finally empowering women to come forward and say it happened to me too, just because we're into the thousands or more, why would that be going too far? We continue to empower women every day, and men, to know that we care about their stories. So, no, we haven't gone too far. We're just starting to scratch the surface.
In your book, Be Fierce, you said enablers are as blameworthy as the harassers themselves. So what do you make of the Trump administration appointing Bill Shine in the communications role?
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't talk about anyone who is associated with Fox News based on my settlement.
Okay.
In general, I can say that what I wrote in the book about enablers is still true today. I really believe that when enablers finally find the same amount of courage it takes for a woman or a man to come forward about harassment in the workplace, when they finally get that same courage to say we're not going to enable this behavior anymore, that'll be the final part of the tipping point in this revolution. So many people in the workplace don't want to ruffle any feathers because they're worried about their own jobs, and I totally understand that. But I have great hope for the younger generation that together men and women want to solve this problem. And I really believe that younger men don't want to be enablers anymore and will speak up. And we need them to do that. We need men to help us in this entire fight and issue. So enablers are the last piece of the puzzle. in truly bringing about respect in the workplace.
A lot of women have been inspired to run for office this midterm election cycle, and in part because of MeToo, and many of them have been sharing their own stories about being sexually harassed or abused when they were younger. So I'm wondering, is running for office something you've considered?
So I had been asked to run for Senate in Connecticut, where I currently reside. There was a small little campaign of people asking if I would come home to run for Senate in Minnesota, which is where I'm from, where I grew up. Right now, I'm not interested in getting into politics. I have so many other jobs on my plate right now, and I'm spread too thin as it is. But never say never. My life has worked in mysterious ways. I mean, I started my life as a concert violinist, and God knows I never expected to be Miss America. I did know that I would go to a good college, but I did not know that I would not end up being a lawyer. That was my next dream. So then I ended up in television. And I don't think anyone ever wakes up in the morning and says, wow, I'm so happy to be the face of sexual harassment in this world. So that was a complete unexpected. But if there's been one constant in my life, it's that when there's a challenge in front of me, I go for it. And that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years, and trying to make the world a better place for men and women. And if politics happens to be in my future, maybe I'm not going to say no to it.
What do you hope for the future of the MeToo movement, and where do you hope to see it go from here?
Well, I hope that we continue to inspire women to have the courage to come forward and tell their MeToo stories. And I've seen that. It's one of the reasons I wrote Be Fierce, was because I heard from thousands of women across our country who had never been listened to before. And what I found out is that this is a pervasive epidemic that crosses every socioeconomic line in every profession. And so there are so many more stories I know out there